Hello again YouTube. On my previous video where I compared a Home Bargains power bank to Poundland power bank, I had a few comments. People had asked about capacity and runtime, etc. And we had a look at those power banks and basically focused on the capacity. But it did occur to me that I haven't been in a while, so what was available on the shelf might have changed, and it has. I went into both Poundland and Home Bargains today. Those are the two retailers close to me that you can buy this kind of equipment. They aren't the only two that are available, but they are the two which carry a range fairly consistently. So, for example, this one in Poundland, they've had this for a good number of years now, and Home Bargains, same. They've got a very similar product that they've carried for a long time. So I haven't looked at other high street retailers, I haven't looked at supermarkets, because these are the places where I go to look for this kind of stuff. So that's basically why I've looked at these two. So from right to left, from the Pound shop or Poundland, the Signal X power bank, the £1 power bank, gives a 1200 milliamp claim on the box. The Power Geek £2 power bank from Poundland, this is a 2200 milliamp claim on the box. Power Geek £5 from Poundland has a 4000 milliamp hour claim on the box, and the product to the left, the Accelerate rechargeable power bank, that's a twin pack. So these are two power banks, each with 4000 milliamp hour claim on the packaging. So what I'm going to do is take each of these out of the packets. I'm going to fully charge them, and then I'm going to fully discharge them through a little USB meter and find out what the output capacity is. So not necessarily the cell capacity. I'm going to look at, I'm going to basically compare how much power they actually get out of the USB, because that's what really matters. So this one here, the Power Geek £5, is directly comparable to the Accelerate 2 for £9.99. So we'll be comparing these like for like, but we'll also compare all of these products. I'll try and rank them, so I'll give you a bang for your buck comparison, if you like. So what do you get for £1? How many milliamp hours? And then I'll compare this one and what do you get for £1 of this in milliamp hours, and see which one represents best value. Now obviously they don't all do exactly the same. The cases are different, and there might be reasons why you would want one over the other. For example, this £5 Poundland one, it's got a little button on here. You press it, it shows you the voltage level. So it's got 3 LEDs lit up. So I'm assuming that's 75% charged. It might do other things, I'm not sure. I haven't had it out of the box yet, but we'll have a look at that. We'll be taking these out, having a look at the features, if they do have any features other than giving you power, and we'll open them up and have a look at what's inside them as well. So I'll go off and start this. I won't show you the whole process because that'll take about a day. So I'll go off, charge these up, discharge them, and we'll come back with the results. Okay, so it's now been a few days since I took these away from the bench and put them on test. So what I've used to test them is this little Tac Life USB tester. When you give it a power source, so you give it USB, it shows you the voltage, the current being drawn, the voltage, the current, and then at the bottom it shows you the capacity of what's been consumed by the load. So this shows when you empty a power bank into a resistor load, it shows you how much power went through. I've then got that plugged in to this tester. So this is basically a battery capacity tester. So on the left hand side here we've got a big resistor, and the power from the power bank comes into here, passes through the resistor, and it dissipates as heat. Okay, so I've gone through each of the 4 of these and I've tested them 3 times. So I've given them 3 charge then discharge cycles. Each time I charge them up, I let them cool down before I discharge them through the testers. And I've recorded the results. So I've recorded the capacity of the power bank by the time it's finished discharging. Okay, so let's have a look at the results. First up's number 1. That's a Signal X £1 power bank. It's the 1200 milliamp hour one. This is the one that the Pound Shop's been selling, or Poundland have been selling for a long time now. I've got a lot of these kicking about. So this one claims to have 1200 milliamp hours. The average was 576 and the highest reading was 597 milliamp hour. The difference between the three readings was pretty minimal, and the difference between reading 2 and reading 3 was very minimal. So I suspect that at 3 charge and discharge cycles you're not going to get much more capacity out of it. I think it's levelled out at that. That gives us a price per amp hour of £1.67. So that's a baseline to work from. Number 2 is Power Geek 2200 milliamp hour from Poundland. This is their latest range, and again, features are very similar to the 1200 milliamp hour one. Charges and discharges, no other features. So this one claims 2200 milliamp hour. My average of my 3 tests was 1234, and the highest reading I got was 1250, and that gives us a price per amp hour of £1.60. Just slightly behind the standard £1 Signal X one, but not a huge difference, nothing to write home about. Number 3 is this one, the Power Geek, the 4000 milliamp hour. Now this one has a couple of additional features. The indicator, so this is the charge and discharge indicator, and it's a circle with 4 LEDs, and you can see that there's only one on at the moment, showing that it's 25% or less charged. This one also has 2 output ports, and you might be able to see on there it says out 1 amp, and it says that on both of them. Now I haven't looked at the literature that comes with it yet, so I don't know if these are 2 outputs at 1 amp or the combined outputs 1 amp, but I suspect it's a combined output because it does say on the back that the output is 1 amp, DC output 5 volt 1 amp. So I suspect that that's the combined output, but we'll find out. This one's also got a nice little feature, which is double press the button and it gives you an emergency flashlight or torch. So that's quite a nice little included feature, and it's in a nice case as well. So the results for this one, so this is a Poundland £5 Power Geek, 4000 milliamp hour claimed on the packet. 2130 was the average I got, and 2166 was the highest I got, and that gives us a value of £2.30 per amp hour. So a significant jump away from the £1 and £2 versions. So power bank number 4, this is the Accelerate 4000 milliamp hour from Home Bargains in the UK. It does say on the packet that it's a TJ Morris product, and it's been imported by TJ Morris, so it is their own brand unit. This one claims 4000 milliamp hour. Points to note that this one has got the same features as power bank 1 and 2, where it charges and discharges, and that's pretty much it. It doesn't have any LEDs or anything like that. The output on it, I think is it just says 5 volts. I'm pretty sure on here it's 5 volts at 1 amp. Yeah, 1 amp max, which is the same for all of these. So the results from this test are 4000 milliamp hour claimed. Average I got from the 3 tests was 1758, and the highest reading I got was 1776, which gives us the lowest value reading of the 4 at £2.80 per amp hour. So those are the 4 results. Coming out on top, we've got the Poundland £2 Power Geek at £1.60 per amp hour. So that's a pretty decent claim for the Power Geek product. It means that these are very usable, and pretty good value for money. I quite like these. I do like the case that they're in. The only disadvantage is there's not much space. This is a £1 one from Poundland, and there's quite a bit of space in here, so you can modify them. You can put LEDs in them, or use them, put some bits and pieces in. But this one's nice if you just want to use it as a power bank. This is quite a nice little unit, and obviously it's the best value for money out of the 4 units I've tested here. Now that we've tested their performance, let's have a look inside. So number 1's first. Okay, and you've probably seen this before. It's a tried and tested design. Poundland have been putting these out for a number of years now, and I've got quite a few of them myself. The little circuit board hasn't changed. We've got the discharge controller here. On the top you've just got the LEDs in the socket, and the controller and all the support components are on the bottom, the little inductor, and that's it. So I've seen these quite a number of times. Very, very reliable. I've had a couple of these fail, but I've bought dozens and dozens of them, and to be honest, I tend to use and abuse them. Quite often I'll take the original battery, the original 18650 out, and I'll put a high capacity cell in it. So the little discharge chip is probably getting a lot more abuse and a lot more heat than it's designed for. So, but these are great little units, very versatile, and obviously pretty decent value for money. The Power Geek £2 one, pack number 2. Let's see if we can open this. Now last time I opened one of these I did destroy all the clips, so let's see if I can do this time without destroying it. Okay, there we go. And all the clips are intact, so that's a bonus. So very similar design. Got the 8-pin charge control chip, an inductor, a couple of support components. On the other side of the board, you've just got the USB socket here. There's a little component here. I can't see what that component is. I think it looks like a capacitor. Yeah, it's a capacitor. And there are 2 LEDs right underneath the end of the socket here. And that's all there is to it. Again, very similar to the £1 unit. Again, it's a nice design. The reason the LEDs are up here as opposed to on top of the board is so that they shine through these 2 little holes to show you the charge and discharge indication. Okay, number 3. Case design sort of similar to number 2, and that it seems to be a clamshell that's clipped together. Okay, so we've got 3 18650s. So that's quite a nice design. You get the 2 USBs on there. It looks like there's only one inductor and one charge discharge protection chip. But there is. Well, there are 2 little packets over here. They 6-pin. They could be little dual MOSFET packets. I'm guessing at that. I can't actually see anything on the surface of it. They are marked 8205 and they're two different chips. One's a DW018 or DW01B K130 and the second one's an 8205 P018, and the main chip's an SY3511D. I'm guessing that's the main processor. Okay, and the last unit, number 4, this is the Accelerate from Home Bargains. Bit of hot melt glue in here. That was one of the criticisms I had of the Home Bargains units. The first time I took one apart, it was the cheaper version. It was the one that was similar to this one here, the £1 Signal X. So I had a couple of criticisms, and I recorded a video at the time, and it's still online. They had nickel strips, and they came up really far. In fact, they came up right onto the PCB. There wasn't any insulation. The batteries didn't have any protection caps on them, so these little sticky pads, they weren't there. They were stuck onto the back, and the way that the batteries had been connected, it meant that if the batteries rotated inside the packet, you know, through just transiting them about, they could short circuit inside the packet, and it could cause it to go on fire because the connections were then the wrong side of the battery protection. So they've taken care of all those things as far as I can see. They've got PVC connected leads coming up to the circuit board. They've put the protection stickers on. They've got a little bit of Captain tape connecting the batteries together, and they've used some hot melt glue to stop the thing rolling about. So that's pretty good. It's good that they've addressed all the safety issues. Let's see if we can pop these out with the glue. Incidentally, on my previous video, I didn't contact Home Bargains or TJ Morris about it. I've no idea if anyone at their offices saw my video or not, or whether they've just redesigned it, you know, whether they've taken the view that they, I don't know if they had issues with them or not, but certainly the fact that they've done something about it, that's quite impressive. I like that. Okay, so let's get that blob of glue off. Okay, so very similar design. On the top you've got the USB socket. You've got the two charge and discharge LEDs. Just like the other one, you've got ports, sorry, the solder tabs up here for a second LED point, but they're not populated. And on the bottom you've got the charge port, the inductor, and a little 8-pin chip. This chip is, let's see, it's marked. This is an FM9833E. So it's a different chip to the Poundland one. The board design is very similar. I mean, most of these power banks, the cheaper ones that you take apart, have got a very similar design. It's obviously different. It's not exactly the same. Let's just bring the Signal X one up, put them side by side. They're not exactly the same. There are differences, but many of the design features are similar. Obviously, in the process of taking this apart, I've shorted something out, and it's now discharging the battery through the control chip, and that little chip is now red hot. So hot you can barely touch it, and it smells really hot. It smells the way an iron smells when you turn it up, you know, when you're ironing at full temperature. So in fact, it's so hot, even the USB case is too hot to touch. You can just feel the heat radiating from this board. So this is destined for recycling once I'm finished with it. But that's what happens when you use metal instruments to open charged battery packs. So, lesson learned. Anyway, I'm going to stick the meter on this. I've got this old fluke meter here because it's very reliable. And let's just see how much charge is left in the cell. Sorry, 3.91 volts. So there's still a reasonable amount of charge in there. It's not in fact, it's a long way away from being discharged. It was probably 4.2 volts when I started making the video, when I was taking it apart. But yeah, it's gone red hot. The inductor's hot, the chip's hot, and the case is hot. The USB shielding they're all hot, and it's not cooling down. So yeah, it's discharging through here. The cell itself isn't hot. No, that's okay. So it's obviously the current has been limited through the chip itself. It must just be the physical properties of the chip that limiting that. So I could stand here and wait for it to discharge, but I'm not going to do that. I don't think it's going to go bang. Worst case scenario, the chip would crack with the heat and a little bit would pop out. So I'm just going to get rid of that danger. So these are the 4 power banks we tested. In terms of value, you saw the table, you saw the results. These to the left, number 1, 2 and 3, they're all purchasable individually, and number 4 you can only buy it in a pack of 2. I was back in Home Bargains today for something and I had a look, and this is still the only pack that they're selling. So they seem to have dropped the product line where you can buy a power bank on its own. You basically just have to buy this pack of 2. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it interesting, if you liked the video, please give a thumbs up, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.